Tom Maoli is with us now to look at the state of the auto industry. He's the owner of Celebrity Motor Cars and multiple car dealerships. So, Tom, after such an up and down year for the auto industry, what do you think 2024 has in store?
Well, listen, there's a lot of pent-up demand in the industry because during COVID, people bought their leases out because they couldn't get cars. There was no inventory. And, that's a cycle. And what happens is these cars are now coming into the service departments and they have 110,000 miles on it. There's a life cycle to a car. So these cars have to be replaced. And, what happens is start getting more expensive to fix them as they have more mileage on them. And that's the cycle we're in right now. And that's why the production is up, and that's why sales are up.
Well, some experts predicted 2023 to be a repeat of 2028 with the auto industry collapsing. And obviously that didn't happen. Of course, there are challenges, but there certainly was not a collapse. So where do you think experts went wrong in that prediction?
Well, listen, I think they looked at the interest rates. Payments are out the roof. When you look at lease payments and car payments, they're out the roof because interest rates have risen. Inflation has driven the cost of the vehicle up at least 25 to 28%. And, that's a big number. So when you look at those numbers, people are coming in that when they were paying, $300 a month and now it's $600 a month. And that's what I think they were looking at. But at the end of the day, you can't stop transportation. People have to get their kids to school. They have to get to work, and they're going to buy cars. They're either going to buy them or they're going to fix them. And the cycle of fixing them is over. It's now the cycle of buying them. I see the demand continuing to rise. The pent-up demand is strong. And I think the big blunder in the industry right now is this EV blunder that, the administration is pushing on the industry. And when the consumer is not buying into it, they don't want EVs. They're not touching them. They don't want to drive them. They're afraid of range. There's nowhere to charge them. So I think that's the big concern in the industry right now. They're piling up on the car dealership lots.
I do want to get to EVs in a second, but before that, you also mentioned that cars are getting more and more expensive, but car companies are also planning to cash in on subscription models now for certain services, and I imagine most consumers are not going to be thrilled about that considering where prices are. So do you think that's really the best idea for automakers to move forward with?
Well, listen, they're looking for revenue streams. They're all, these car companies have lost. If you look and peel back the onion, they're losing billions of dollars trying to gear up for an EV mandate. That's not happening. It's just not going to happen. Ford lost $2 billion last quarter just on their EV division. And that's where they're trying to come up with revenue streams to counteract that.
Well, EVs are still getting a decent amount of attention, though, and they are expected to reach a record in sales this year. So what do you make of that? Do you expect that sales trend to continue, or do you think it's going to just drop off?
Well, it's dropped off already. I've been calling for the last year for an EV crash. Historically, car dealerships carry 30 to 60 days of inventory on their lots. During COVID, we were at 30 because of the supply chain. EVs are backed up over 12 to 18 months of inventory across the country, across brands. Pick a brand. They're all the same. Chrysler, Ford, General Motors, Toyota, Lexus, Mercedes, they're all have the same issue. 12 to 18 months worth of EVs piled up on the lots. They can't sell them. And, I think it's going to get worse because the consumer doesn't want them.
All right, Tom Maoli, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.